Hey all, welcome to Monday, welcome to Countdown Day, and as suggested by one of our viewers, Steven, the topic today is going to be the top 10 worst Transformers robot modes. This is of course voted on by fans, the votes have been amassed. This covered both Toon and Toy, and I did ask for people to be specific about which one they were voting for in the voting. Naturally, some people did not read or listen to the instructions, which made things a little bit tangly. But we're going to explore it all when we look at the top 10 worst Transformers robot modes in the latest GotBot Counts Down. Hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course subscribe, and while you are at it, light them up, baby. Hit the notification bell, please. Helps me out a ton. Let you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that is in the description down below. Also in the description, and if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link, check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course, hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. And like I said, this was suggested to us by a viewer, Steven, and this is, I think, an interesting topic. The fans certainly voted. I asked for people to be specific, and some people weren't, so we'll talk about that as we go through the list, and you'll see how it sort of affected the list as we go through it. We will do our two honorable mentions first and foremost. They include the G1 Ratchet Toy robot mode. That had a few votes. And the... of course, Beast Wars Injector. Poor Injector. Whenever there's a worst of something, you can always count on Injector to get some votes. For those of you who don't know, he's been in a lot of the lists in recent weeks. And like, he's half fish, half bee. It's the weirdest Fusor. It's not a great alt mode, it's not a great robot mode. But neither of them actually made the list. Neither of them cracked the top 10. So what we're going to do as we always do, and we're going to kick things off with number 10 first. Kicking us off at number 10, we go to the live action universe. I think everybody expected at least some live action to appear on this. But we're going to kick things off at number 10 with this. It's Scavenger. Some people voted for Demolisher. Yes, they're the same body type. The votes were not put together. It is not the same thing. I asked for one. I didn't ask for one mold. I asked for one. Scavenger got more than Demolisher. Significantly more, actually. At the end of the day, the dude has a very ugly face that's very alien-esque. He has a big wheel on the top of his head. He has a big wheel that's the rest of his body. And then he has these two weird hook arm things. I don't really know how he functions. He can't fit in a lot of places because he's huge. He sometimes has to use his hands as stabilizers and stability instead of relying on his tire. And honestly, he's just so wildly alien and unrecognizable as, I guess, a robot because he is so reliant on those gigantic tires that it's hard to look at him, it's hard to make sense of him, and it's hard to be anything but confused when you see Scavenger. When you see a bot and it confuses you, that's not really a very good bot. Scavenger, with his wheel on top of his head and his wheel that's the rest of his body with his two big, long, gangly, ugly arms, takes the number 10 slot. Coming in at number 9, we go all the way back now to G1, and this. It's Quick Switch. It's the toy version of Quick Switch, and like, I get it. You had 6 Shot, and 6 Shot was done so well, and all 6 modes, and he was a cool looking robot, and then this was the Autobot 6 changer, and for some reason it looked like this in robot mode. Granted, it had a lot of modes that it had to try and pull off, but the robot mode you would think would be one of the quintessential ones. His legs look too wide, almost as if his hips are heavy set apart. His forearms look too small compared to his biceps, and why are like his shoulders so close in next to his head? It gotta make trying to turn your head very ineffective. In the end, the guy ends up being very bricky, and what movement he does have is pretty much hindered by his body proportions and limitations there. And at the end of the day, it's just an ugly robot. When you hear Six Changer, you think something cool. And then you see this. It just doesn't live up to the expectations. Quick Switch takes the number 9 slot. Coming in at number 8, we have this. You'll see that I have Transmutate and I have the Selects offering there. Only one person specified, and they said Generations Transmutate. There is no Generations Transmutate, so I don't know what they're talking about. There's the Selects Transmutate, and then there's the character model from the show. I don't know what people meant. I would say that they're both pretty bad. It's not even so much that they're bad, but they are malproportioned in both cases, really, because if we're talking about the Selects, well, that thing kind of has a hodgepodge of parts that you could put in any number of ways, and it looks very bony, I guess, because it's a fossilizer, even though it's supposed to be more robotic and the head is obviously not a skull, it's obviously a robot head. But then you have the character model from the Beast Wars show, and that thing was also malproportioned, and it just looked terrifying. It was so out of whack, it looked more monstrous than anything else. I get that the character is supposed to be pitiful and pitiable despite its strength, but I always just found it disturbing to look at. When you find the robot mode troubling, it's hard to call it good. Yeah, Transmutate, whichever one voters meant since they didn't specify, takes the number 8 slot. Coming at number 7, we go back to the live action universe, we go back to the movies, and it's Starscream's robot mode. Now, it was the movie version that got the votes, just like with Scavenger, it was the movie version, even though I suppose you could have said like the studio series version, because they're very true to Scream, but it was the fiction version. I mean, with Starscream, it's the same thing. You see it and you say, cool jet. I get that it's updated from what his G1 would be to a more modern version of that jet, but when it transforms to a robot, just like all the Seekers really, like, why does it look like a big Dorito? We know that. Why does the head look the way it does? Nothing about it screams Starscream. The colors aren't right. The body shape isn't right. You don't have 2 null rays. You don't have the shoulder pylons. It's just, I guess, a cool plane. I guess a cool robot. But it's not Starscream. The other thing people said is, even if you look past that and you say this is Starscream with his Dorito body, because his body is so weird and so large, it takes up so much space, his head looks small, his arms look weak and gangly, and his legs look, again, much like the arms, short and gangly. I get it. The proportions seem off, and that's why Starscream seems off. Live action Starscream takes the number 7 slot. Coming in at number 6, we go to Beast Wars this time. Man, we've been all over the map, and we're only halfway through the list yet, sure. And at number 6, we have this poor Retrax, terrible, terrible robot. And of course, this is the toy version. I've complained about this, I've talked about this before in other lists. This guy got the votes, not because his legs are bad or his head, but for 2 reasons. One, a lot of people find the coloration and the mix of colors really off-putting. And the other reason is because of his alt mode, his arms can do literally nothing but be wide open or come in for a hug. And that's all it can do. How is that fun? How is that usable? How is that going to translate to any sort of quality playability, to any sort of usability? It doesn't. It's terrible. It's awful. You had the gimmicks in there and you sacrificed the functionality and the quality of the robot along the way. What a crying shame. Retrax from Beast Wars takes the number 6 slot. And now a hush falls over the crowd because we've reached the ever-coveted, ever-popular halfway mark. And at the halfway mark, we stick with the live-action universe, and it's Scorponok. And like, he had a cool Scorpion mode. He was, you know, really a big baddie in the films, but like his robot mode in toy, which is of course what we have here, is just really the Scorpion stood up. It's awful. It looks terrible. It doesn't look like a true blue robot mode. It looks like the Scorpion was the main mode, and then they didn't even think about the fact that that was going to have to translate into a robot. They didn't even try. After having G1 Scorponok, that's a great robot. After having Beast Wars Scorponok, that's a great robot. Why did the live action universe do this? It doesn't work. The arms look huge, the legs look weird, the head looks odd, the body looks too long and spindly. It just doesn't work. And that's why it takes the number 5 slot. Coming in at number 4, still with this live action universe, we have this. It's RC from Revenge of the Fallen, specifically. The one that's part of the triplets, right? And take your pick. I mean, she has a cool robot mode, or alt mode, but in her robot mode, take your pick. Do you hate the wheel foot or the mono foot? Do you hate the snake-like spindliness of her body? Maybe you hate her gangly long arms, the ugly face, or the hair? That's really the way that her head is molded. There's nothing that succeeds here in robot mode. There's nothing that says RC, whether an homage to G1 or really to Prime. It's an ugly robot, and it looks like, with this sort of spindly kind of robot mode, it looks more like a Decepticon than an Autobot. Fast forward all the way to Rise of the Beasts, and at least the RC that we got there was a recognizable RC, even if still a motorcycle. But this RC, yuck, and she takes the number 4 slot. Now we're into the top 3, and at number 3 we have this. It's Armada Sideswipe, and like, do I really need to say anything? It's so loaded down with gimmicky crap that honestly it really doesn't function. Like, outside of the gimmicks, there's very limited articulation. I don't even understand what's going on with the arms. Why do you have very tiny spindly biceps that look like they're very, very weak, and then these forearms that put Popeye to shame because they're so gigantic, and then the forearms aren't even forearms with hands, they're just ugly car chunks. The colors are wrong. You know, it's a disgrace that this takes the name of Sideswipe. Sideswipe's such a cool G1 Lamborghini, or even if you want to go with his live action appearance, cool again. This is just ugly. Great car, absolutely atrocious looking robot, and a poorly functioning robot. Yeah, the toy version of Armada Sideswipe, although I'd say the animation version isn't much better. But the toy version of Sideswipe, yeah, it takes the number 3 slot. Coming in at number 2, we go all the way back to G1, and it's Wheelie. And like, there are a couple of toy versions of him, right, with a gray face, with a red face. You know, his visor thing that comes out over his head. Some people have said it looks like a cap. Some people said it looks like a toilet seat lid. Some people said when you lift it up and you see his face, it looks like he was jammed in a locker. Some people say his arms are these long gorilla arms, even though he's a little weenie and as weak as they get. Some people say the articulation is atrocious because it was the G1 toy, obviously, since the animation model looked nothing like the G1 toy. The legs, just one mono orange glob, basically, of a lower body. Yeah, I mean, in fiction, in the cartoon, like, his character model was fine. It looked youthful, but it was fine. And then if you were somebody who was a fan of that character and you went to the store and you got a Wheelie and you couldn't wait to have him and get him out, and this is what you got? Color me disappointed. It fails. It fails with a face. It fails with arms, legs, body, even a ball cap. Wheelie takes the number 2 slot. And now here we are, very tippy top number 1. And number 1 wasn't clear. Almost. All of the people that voted for this did not specify. Number 1 is this. It's G1 Ironhide, and that's what they said, G1 Ironhide. I asked tons, dozens upon dozens of people. Yeah, but you didn't say tune or toy. Now, if they're going to come back and say, obviously toy, I can't assume that. That's not how voting works. I'm not the one that's casting the vote. You are. I'm just counting them. So since people didn't specify, I have to include both of them here. As for the robot one, or as for the toy one, sorry. As for the tune version, I don't know what the errors could be there. Big bulbous chest, tubby tummy, I don't know. As for the toy version, I think a couple of people summed it up. The couple of people who did identify and said G1 Ironhide toy. Exactly what I asked for. Be specific. 1, be specific. The people that did specify also, I think, kind of summed up the problems with that very well. They said, A, his proportions are way off. Why are his arms almost down to his hips? Why are his hips so wide set apart, which means his legs are wide set apart? They said, 2, being from Diaclone, it's a great mech because you could picture a pilot sitting behind that windshield, and this is a mech that it's maneuvering around and controlling. But as its own functional robot, it fails. In fact, the thing doesn't really have a face, though there is kind of a face in behind with that weird sticker thing. And I really, really like this one. I think people also nailed it, voters also nailed it when they said, look, you wouldn't even recognize this as a functioning robot because it looks like a piece of machinery. It looks like a tool more than a sentient, conscious robot. It fails in every single way. It fails to look like a robot. It fails to have good proportions. It fails to function like a robot. It might make a great mech, but it doesn't make a great transformer. And that's why Ironhide, at least the toy half of the #1, takes the #1 slot. And that's 10 down to 1 once again. I mean, I would like to think that most voters intended #1 to be the toy version, but I can't assume that. I'm not in people's brains. I don't know why people think I can read their thoughts. I can't. I'm not in your head. You gotta specify, guys. Other ones that had votes: Revenge of the Fallen, Studio Series 83, Soundwave, Armada Scavenger, Studio Series Hightower, the Age of the Primes Amalgamus, Energon Cliff Jumper, Ballpoint, the one that turns to a pen, Beast Machines Rat Trap, Botanica, who else? Demolisher I mentioned, Rise of the Beast Wheeljack, Studio Series Car Shatter, yuck, blah. G1 Brick Broadside, Bayverse Ratchet, Dark Crumple Zone, Cosmos, Icebird, I don't even know what that is, Squeaks, Legacy Lockdown, the Star Seeker version, or the Star Raider version, Rack and Ruin, the Beast Machines McDonald's Megatron, which basically turns into a can and a dragon. Doesn't really have a robot per se. G1 Ultra Magnus, being a big brick, Grand Slam Kranix, Revenge of the Fallen Rampage, Legacy RC, Titans Return, who is that? Ravage, Titans Return Ravage, G1 Ravage, Legacy Point Blank Those Arms, Beast Wars Megatron, RID 2015 Clampdown, Six Gun because he has so many things sticking off of him. Where else? Beast Machines Black Arachnia, Beast Wars Transmetal 2, Scourge, the G1 Runabout. It's a gimmick, not a robot. Beast Wars Jawbreaker, Beast Machines Silverbolt, Beast Machines Night Scream, G1 Laserbeak. I mean, why be a bird when you can already fly? Because that's a thing Decepticons can do. Legacy Core Class Sludge. Yes, those and so many more had votes. Who knew there were so many terrible robot designs, both in fiction and in toy? I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link, check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. While you're at it, hit the subscribe button, stick around and have some fun with us here on the channel, and don't forget, man, not for a moment, not for a second, that you right there, you do make a difference in the world, and I'll look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way right here, inside the videos.